All right, guess who? We are back. Oh, let me do it like Texas, like Matty McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. We are back. It's the RaceFanHeaven Show. I am Race Fan Rick. There is Mandy. If you're watching on video, you see her and you see me. And if you're listening, you don't get to see either of us, which you know, you really should go to YouTube and check us out. Hi, Mandy.
Definitely. Hi.
What's going on?
I'm excited because F1 and IndyCar are back.
Well, yeah. Who wouldn't be excited about that?
My
Not
heart
to mention
is
all
full.
kinds of other stuff, sports cars and supercross and
Everything.
NHRA coming back and everything.
Everything. My
Everything.
life is complete.
We are liking it. We are liking it a lot.
Yeah,
We
I
are
like
back
it.
too, and we are going to talk. We're going to talk because we're real good at it. We're going to talk about IndyCar last week at the IMS Road Course, the GMR Grand Prix. We got a lot to say about that. We're going to talk about F1 finally starting, finally in Austria.
Finally.
We have a lot to talk about there, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Crank it up.
Yeah.
Crank it. Let me turn the volume down a little bit over here. Okay.
There's
We got a lot of stuff to talk about there.
A little bit going on in F1,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Yeah. Everything else going all right in your world? We all under control?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything's all good.
Just waiting for racing?
Just waiting for racing. Oh, but I have so race fans, I am on the distribution list for IndyCar Media. So I have access to lots of cool things that I get to share with all of you. So make sure to follow me on Twitter at MandyCTV, because I will be going, I attend all the Zoom media press conferences, and which are fun. I'm getting the hang of those, let me tell you. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Oh, it is. And then sometimes I'm lucky enough I could put my hand up. I hit the button real quick, and I'm good.
Squeeze in there, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's hard. Like, and I get to ask questions. Like this last one, I mean, two of the big journalists asked my questions, and I was like, oh, I got to put my hand down. Yeah. I was like, oh, there goes the hand.
Yeah, it's never mind.
Never mind. But that just means.
But the important part is the question got answered. That's the big thing.
Right, and it just means I'm doing a good job. And
it means you know what you should be asking. There you go. I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'll have a lot of information there. Oh, and by the way, follow us too, us together at RaceFanHeaven. Oh, look at the shirt. Look on video. Follow us. Go to our website, RaceFanHeaven.com. Follow us on Twitter, at RaceFanHeaven. On Facebook, at RaceFanHeaven. On YouTube, you will find us if you search. We don't have the RaceFanHeaven at yet for YouTube, but if you search us, I guarantee you will find us, and that's where you'll see videos and all kinds of fun stuff we're going to put on there. So check us out there. Okay, let's start with IndyCar. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we were at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with no fans, by the way, which was weird. Even on TV, it was weird. I can't imagine being there. It must have been really weird being there.
It's weird. It's so eerie, and especially at the IMS, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, because that is just so iconic. Sure. And to not have fans there, it's really weird.
And huge. I mean, it's huge, and it's empty.
So huge.
Yeah, and completely empty. It must have been weird to be like on pit lane before the race, and even on TV, like the TV coverage would start. They do their promo, and there's music and this and that, and then it goes to whoever the host, Mike Tirico or whoever's on, and usually after the music dies, you hear sounds from the racetrack. There's people, there's things going on, and it was dead silence, and it was really weird. Really odd. Yeah, very odd. So it must have been odd to be there. But anyway, regardless, next week there will be fans for IndyCar, so that's good. That's really good. We'll talk about that too.
We will.
Yeah, cool. So let's see. Gosh, where to start? You want to talk a little about quali and practice and all that? You want to?
Right.
What were
I
your
think
thoughts
so.
there?
And I just want to say one thing too. This is the second race for IndyCar, and I do want to say it ran a whole lot smoother than it did at TMS.
Well, in some ways, yeah.
And I'm talking about, just it seemed like it was just because it's the second one, they're getting the hang of the COVID-19 stuff, and you didn't have you had different problems. We'll get to that in a little bit. We definitely had different tire deg problems, but the track itself wasn't an issue like at TMS. So
at TMS we had the issue with the traction control compound and all that, and then there was an issue with the tire, not technically not with the tires. I don't want to say anything bad about Firestone. They're great, but there was an issue because they didn't have any testing, number one, so they couldn't test a tire really, and that traction compound screwed everything up, and they hadn't really they really didn't know what the tires were going to do. And so they had competition yellows and all that stuff. At this race, the issue was tire degradation. And it's kind of weird because we heard a little bit about it during practice and qualifying, but it didn't seem to be a huge issue. And then once the race started, within like 5 laps, it was like, oh my gosh, the tires are wearing like crazy. We're going to have to change our pit strategy. And that changed everybody's strategy almost.
Yeah, it did. And I was just going to say, obviously, when it comes to racing, strategy is always key. But man, strategy was just so important. Maybe instead of saying strategy, but like last minute strategy was so important because, you go in whatever racing series you're in, you go in with your strategy, you have it all set up, but man, just to have to go boom like this in a second and change it. And so
it was really unexpected.
It was unexpected. And so some of the teams rose to the top, some of them didn't. Sure. And of course, without skipping a beat, Scott Dixon.
Well, when you've got a guy like Scott Dixon and you've got a team manager like Mike Hull, who I'd say he rivals Roger Penske as probably the best strategist and just the way that they call the races. I think the way, from what I understood from what I heard, Dixon's team, they really started the race with a 3-stop strategy. Or a 2-stop, I'm sorry. And then, because Scott is so good at saving fuel and saving tires, and they figured, well, we'll go with a 2-stop. And within 5 laps, it was like, nope, forget it. There's no way. We're losing way too much time on these tires. We've got to go to a 3-stop immediately. And they came through like champs. I think most of the field maybe half of the field was in that same boat. They kind of said, well, let's try a 2-stop. And then really quickly they realized they'd have to go to a 3-stop. But there was a couple that didn't. Probably the most prominent one was Graham Rahal. They stuck to the 2-stop strategy and saved fuel and saved tires, and it worked out for them. But I think there was 2 or 3 other cars that tried it, and it did not work out as well. Yeah.
And I just sorry, we skipped over real quick practice and qualifying, but I guess
I rolled right in.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's my fault too. But I was going to say when I going back to what I said earlier about Indy GP running smoother, I think what I was trying to refer to was the practice and qualifying. That's what I meant, is that those 2, specifically practice and qualifying for this one, for the Indy GP, totally smoother than at TMS where you had the wrecks and people spinning out and everything. And we talked about the tire day. We talked about the traction control and all of that. But so that was good to see. And obviously, when you talk about the practice, you have it all in one day. So race fans, they're doing this again. I want to also point out, because now that we're going into Formula One is keeping their whole practice 1 and practice 2 and then practice 3 and their whole routine, their whole schedule hasn't changed, but IndyCar has.
Yeah.
And so IndyCar has, and we're seeing these practices, qualifying and race all in one day, which is so grueling on the teams, on the cars.
Yep.
It affects everything. So
well, they did the one day at Texas, but they did they did 2-day at Indy, right? They did
right.
practice Friday, quali.
One practice.
Yeah, one practice and then qualifying, and then they did like a warm up on Saturday and then the race. With the warm up was essentially a practice. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what you know what? I did not look up. I apologize, race fans. I did not do my job. But I didn't look up what they're going to do at Road America.
I did.
Did you? What are they doing?
Let me read to you the format, which is crazy.
Which is, well, crazy.
It's crazy. So on Saturday, they will have, and I'm going to read to you, these are all Eastern times. So at 11 a.m., you have the first practice.
Okay.
At 2:15 p.m., you have qualifying.
Okay.
And then at 5:15 p.m., same day, you have the race.
Oh, so they are doing a one day.
This is, yes, they're doing
nothing
it all. It's
on
Sunday, and then, nope, nothing on Friday. And then Sunday, they're doing at 10 a.m., they're doing qualifying for the second race. And then the second race is at 12:42 p.m.
Wow, they are packing it in then.
They are, and I'll get to that in a second because we're jumping ahead to that. But I just because Colton Herta and Rinus VK had some things to say about that, so I'll talk about that in a minute. But going back to we go on this tangent.
It's my ADHD.
It's true. But going back to what I was saying, just practice and qualifying. So what was really cool about, I'm going to skip just to qualifying because it got really cool. So you have Will Power, the king of poles, right?
Yep.
And then you had Jack Harvey coming up on P2, which was so
good to see.
So amazing to see Jack Harvey there. And then you had Colton Herta, Graham Rahal, and then you had Oliver Askew, and you know.
Yeah, it was a neat top five. Yeah,
it was a very neat top five.
The fast six in quali was different.
It was
except for
different.
Will Power, yeah.
Except for Will Power, but it was really cool to see Oliver Askew there. You know, just doing a good job as a rookie. You know, and being in the top six. I was really impressed.
Right.
So we have that, and like I said, the key for me, the highlights were Jack Harvey and Oliver Askew.
Sure.
You know, for qualifying at least. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Jack Harvey ran well at Indy last year as well. He something about that track he really likes. And it's good to see. It's good to see the smaller teams really, do well.
It is
always good. It mixes things up. Unfortunately, the race didn't pan out really great for him, but he ran up front for the first third of the race.
And it was great. It was
he had pace. Yeah, absolutely.
And he did. Okay, so now we'll go back let's jump into the race, right?
Yeah. So Will Power set sail, like from the first turn off. First of all, let's give a little shout out to everybody. They all made it through the first turn without a wreck, so that was good.
Was good.
I was really not anticipating that, honestly.
Really,
I thought, we're gonna have 2 or 3 spins. We could have a wheel over wheel. We could have all kinds of stuff, but they made it. I was surprised. Graham Rahal tapped, I think it was Harvey back wheel and for a second there, and it looked like maybe that'd be a problem, but it wasn't. But then once it strung out, Will Power was gone. I mean, within a couple laps, he had I think 2-second lead. Yeah.
Yeah. He just.
And then it just kind of strung out for a while, and it was kind of like follow the leader for the first, 20 laps or so.
Yeah, it did seem like that was how it was going to be, but then.
Yes.
Oh man, when obviously when you start doing the pits and things happen and things get a little crazy, and every time Will Power hits,
poor guy,
I like hold my breath because I'm so nervous for him because I'm like,
right.
Is it going to be what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is it going to be okay? Is it not going to be okay? And it wasn't okay.
No. And he's first of all, the yellow caught him out. The yellow caught him out, and that killed half of the race for him. And then stalling in the pits was like, that was it. I mean, he was gone. He was done. He was in the back and he couldn't make it up. Yeah, and sometimes it's really hard on road course because that's part of that strategy thing too. If you get caught out by a yellow, you're toast, no matter how
You're toast.
fast you are. And that's what happened with him. He, the yellow fell at the wrong time, and bye-bye, and it's got to be frustrating for him.
Oh, it's so frustrating because he just like, it's
been that way
bad
for a
luck.
while. Yeah.
It's bad luck because it's like, and that also happened to him and like Rossi at Coda, remember?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Last year, the yellow flag thing, it's the same thing. You're like, don't get caught out there with the yellow. And then
yeah,
it happened. Okay.
Well,
so
some teams use that, and that's always a tricky thing for some fans is sometimes it's hard to understand when you're sitting at home or even at the racetrack and you're watching a race and the guy's ahead by 3 seconds and he's just leading the whole race, and all of a sudden you turn around and he's in 15th and you're like, what happened? I don't understand. And if everybody pits before the yellow and you didn't pit, you're waiting, and then the yellow comes out, then you have to pit because you don't have a choice because you need fuel and tires, and you're in the back and everybody else is in the front. So, a lot of teams will short pit. They'll pit early to try to avoid that.
Right.
And a lot of teams did, and they didn't get caught out. Unfortunately, he did. So that killed his race.
And you know what else? I also feel bad because this is for Will, because this I forgot the exact statistic, but every time he's started at pole at Indy GP, he's won, and then this is the first time he started on pole and did not win.
Yeah, well, it seems since last year he's just had since the beginning of the season last year, it's been a lot of weird bad luck for him.
It has been a lot of weird bad luck. Yeah. Speaking of bad luck.
Oh, yeah. There's a few more in this race.
Rossi can't catch a break.
Oh, I know, right? So he had the problem at Texas, right?
He has a problem at Texas, and then he goes to pit, and his car stalls. His car stalls. And I was like, no. And it just, it wouldn't go.
Yep.
I was like, there's no way this is happening to Rossi again. There's no way. And
it sure was.
Did. And anyway, after the post race, he said that he thinks it was the same fuel pressure issue that they had earlier.
Yeah, I think in practice, they were having some kind of issue. All weekend they had some kind of weird issue.
The Andretti's have been having weird issues.
Yep.
With Ryan Hunter-Reay and Rossi, at TMS, and then here you have Rossi again. Yep. Just there's something weird going on. I don't know what they're having.
I don't know if it's systemic or they're just snake bit, but the team as a whole, for the whole weekend, Rossi had his issues. Veach was kind of so-so. He was kind of mid-pack the whole weekend. Hunter-Reay, same deal. Marco was out to lunch, man. Everything that could go wrong went wrong for Marco, which seems to be that's a whole show about why Marco Andretti can't run in the top 10. But just everything went wrong there. And then Colton had a very quiet but fast weekend. He wasn't on pole. He wasn't at the top of the charts, but he very quietly finished fourth, and he's very quietly fourth in the points right now too.
He is, and he's just maintaining pace. And actually, so we had earlier this week, we had a press conference with Colton Herta and Arenas VK. And one of the questions I wanted to ask Colton was, I wanted to ask if his team was doing anything differently, because his team, out of all the Andretti's, his team seems to have a much better pace. Now, I'm not talking about TMS because Veach had that, but it seems like he's doing something anyway. But one of the other journalists asked my exact question, and here's what Colton had to say, which I thought was really interesting, because he is kind of separate. He's part of the Andretti team, but for some reason his car, like I said, is not having those same things that the other Andretti cars are having. And he said, that he found the most speed, in turn one, and then in straight line braking, and then he made up some more time under the brakes with the lower speed stuff. So it's his driving style too.
Yeah, that's his style, maybe a little different setup too.
Different setup with his driving style, which just because, this is his sophomore year. He was a rookie last year. But if you
Mm-hmm.
remember last year, Colton, there were times when Colton was the highest qualifying car
Sure.
over Rossi, over things like that. And I just want to say that something about his driving style, he just knows how to work certain things that some of the veteran drivers just aren't.
Well, and his engineer obviously knows what he likes too, which is huge. Yeah.
And it's like this perfect harmony that he has on his team. It's like his car is a good balance with him, with his strategy, with his driving style. And I think it's great. And I think it's amazing. And I think it's a lot of things like that. And I think he's definitely someone to watch, because I think as the season continues, he's going to probably continue to do better than the other guys in terms of qualifying and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, Colton was quick everywhere last year too. Had some rookie things and had some mechanical, Indy was mechanical, Texas, he got in a wreck. And so there was different things there, but he was quick everywhere.
Right.
The question now is racecraft. You can be quick for a lap, but as Will Power will tell you, you also have to have the right strategy, have the right racecraft, and finish. You got the whole package. But right now he's leading the Andretti team, so it's got to be something good going on there. Let's see who else we had.
Let's talk about Simon Pagenaud.
Yeah, well, Penske. So Power's on the pole.
Power's on the pole.
Pagenaud qualified like 20th. I think
he qualified 20th.
6th, right? So Pagenaud, so Will Power's out with his mess. Newgarden was kind of quiet all day and finished, I think, top 5 or 6.
6.
Pagenaud, meanwhile, somehow finished 3rd. Not really sure how. I'm not really sure how he did that, but all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, he was way in the back. But it was a lot of strategy and a lot of good driving.
It was. And the thing, if you remember, watching him in practice and qualifying, they went the totally wrong direction in his car.
Yeah.
And he talks about the setups weren't working. I remember looking at the qualifying results and practice. I'm like, why is Pagenaud all the way down there?
Yeah.
And if you remember watching in practice, his car was late to get out, and they were going the wrong direction. But I swear there's some Pagenaud just like, he's got that good luck sometimes. It's just like,
and this is
one of those. Yeah, it's one of those.
Like he didn't get caught out on a yellow.
I know. So see, they went up there, but they were able to keep the tires really well, which plays into that strategy, and the yellow did help him a bit. So it's so interesting, isn't it, to have someone in P20 and then end up on a podium.
Sure.
P3.
And your teammate is on the pole and ends up whatever. I don't even know where Power ended up, 12th or something like that. I don't know. Doesn't matter. He was gone. He was done.
Power ended up 20th. They switched spots.
Well, there you go. But that shows you how that the wrong call at the wrong time, a strategy thing, you're toast. And
it just also goes to show you how exciting this racing really is.
Well, it's also, we have to keep reminding people. Sometimes people don't, understand it completely or think about it, but it is a situation. You've got the driver, you've got fuel strategy, you've got tire strategy, you've got the race engineer that's calling, when do you come into the pits? Do you get caught on the yellow? Do you not? It's just like any other team sport. I mean, you can have a football team with the greatest quarterback in the world, but if you don't have a line that protects him, you're done, or you don't have receivers that can catch the ball, you're done. Well, just like that in racing, it's the same thing. The whole team has to come together. And so, and IndyCar is so competitive. It's so much more competitive than F1 as far as how close all the teams are and how close all the cars are. That it doesn't take much, one little slip and you Will Power, you go from 1st to 20th, and one little good call and you go from 20th to 3rd. So it was a perfect race to kind of see that, right?
It was. Oh, and
Scott Dixon just smiles and drives, and wins and smiles and drives and wins.
Scott Dixon is like just chilling. He's like,
yep, yeah, exactly.
He's just like, okay. We can't forget about Rinus VeeKay because, oh man, he qualified P18 and ended up in 5th place.
Yeah, that was a good job.
He did such a great job. It got a little interesting there with Colton Herta when they were battling out, and it was like, is Rinus going to go for it, or is now you have 2 aggressive drivers, 2 like very like you have Colton Herta who's not going to take it, and then Rinus who's just like so eager, and you're just like, oh no, what is this gonna be? But he kept it clean. They were smart, and it's good to see Rinus bounce back. And I just love
it's hard for a rookie to have what he had at Texas. It could kill your confidence in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, but it didn't. And I just thought it was so cute. Because Rinus is so precious. He's like, I drove the best race of my whole career. And then he's like, I drove my butt off. But he also said I've never been this tired after a race, which we'll get into with the heat. But but yeah. So he drove that's
exactly.
race.
It's funny you say that because that's exactly what I thought about Rinus's race. I thought it was cute and precious. Cute and precious.
No, not the race him. He's so funny.
You're the estrogen side of it. You go, girl. You go, girl. You go.
Precious. He is so precious.
Man.
He's like, I drove the best race of my career. So like, I hope he never changes. I hope Rinus never changes.
He won't. He's a good kid. Let's see what else happened. Graham Rahal quietly stuck to that 2-stop strategy and parlayed it into a great finish.
He did.
He wasn't blazingly fast at all. They were on a fuel and tire, conservation strategy, which is kind of sometimes a boring race, but at the same time, it worked out for him. So they were one that went with the 2-stop, and it did work out. So he had a great day.
He did have a great day.
Let's see who. Poor Jack Harvey. We talked about qualified second, great, but in the race they lost. They had a couple. Didn't they have a pit issue? Like they had a small pit issue, but it put them back. He said, I saw his comments. He said, we made an adjustment and it was bad and we were just slow and it killed us. But you like to see those small teams doing well. Yeah.
Right. And I just want to back up too. It was good to see Graham Rahal get a podium, especially after TMS when he had those issues as well. Similar issues with the ECU that Rossi and Ryan Hunter-Reay had. So
right.
It was really good to see him bounce back. So I was very happy for Rahal.
You know who else was fun to watch until it went sour a little bit was Piggott.
Right.
Doing really well, having a great day, and then they had some issues, and that was the end of his deal. That was the end. But it was good to see. Good to see, some of these younger kids, smaller teams up front. It really mixes it up, which makes it really nice. You know what? Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll save it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of kids, broke my heart when Oliver Askew coming out of turn 14 lost here. That broke my heart because he was doing so well, and it was like, but
you see my tweet after?
Which one?
On Askew.
No, what did you?
I tweeted. I tweeted a picture of him in his when he came out of the infield care, and they did a little interview, and his hair was like straight.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I tweeted. I said, "Well, he had a bad day, but he did win hair of the day. He did beat Ferrucci for hair of the day. So he did have that.
He did.
It was
funny. Have that.
It was hilarious.
Okay.
It was like I don't know what it was. It was his hair was like straight up. It was so funny.
It was so spiky. It was funny.
It was cute and precious is what it was. It's cute.
No, Rinus is cute and precious.
Come on.
Only Rinus is cute. Oliver's different. Oliver's got like a cool vibe. He's got I like Oliver a lot. I'm so impressed with him as a young driver, as a rookie. Okay, but what I was going to say was, what was I going to say? I forgot.
I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
No, I was talking about which brings me back. So when they interviewed Oliver getting out of the car, he said he was so dehydrated and so he was dizzy when he got out of the car.
Yeah.
And which brings me us to the point where the heat was insane.
Brutal. Yeah.
Brutal. And so you want to go ahead. Why don't you talk a little bit about the tech stuff going on about the issues with the aero screen?
The aero screen, right? Yeah. So they've been essentially running the same cars, the same basic type of car forever, open wheel car, open cockpit, all that. Then the aero screen came in last year when they started using it and everything and testing it and all that. And one of the issues was they thought it would be hot because there's no air flowing through the cockpit. You've got a screen in front of you. And even though it's open at the top, all the air is going over your head. It's going past you. And, in the cockpit of an Indy car, I mean, the engine is literally 6 inches behind your back. The radiators and oil coolers are along the side pods beside your seat. And so there's a ton of heat there that with the new aero screen is not dissipating like it was. It's not getting blown out of there or sucked out of there like it was. And so in testing, they kind of tested it and they said, well, we think it's going to be okay, but we're going to put vents in and different things. And at Texas, it was hot and they were hot, but a much faster speed. So it blew a little bit more air in there. They've got these little vents where air kind of can flow through. But at Indy, it was brutal because it was very humid, number one. And I think it was in the mid-90s race time. Wasn't a night race during the day, so it's pretty warm in Indiana in July,
It is.
And so this week they've done a lot of different things, a bunch of tech stuff. They're going to allow some new venting to try to get some more air into the cockpit. Now, Road America is a road course, so that's going to be a little bit different. It's probably not going to be anywhere near as hot as it was at Indy. But also they've allowed them to move the drink bottles as well. I never knew, I never even thought about it, but they started talking about it this week and they said, oh, well, the drink bottles are right beside the radiators. And I thought, well, first of all, why would you do that? Even when it's not hot? Why are the drink bottles, right where the radiators are? I think you'd be up in the front somewhere, but I guess that's the only place they could put them. But they allowed them to move them so that they'd stay cooler. Because some of the guys said, I was taking a drink and I was drinking boiling hot water, scalding water. It was
not good.
Right. And then the other thing is they allowed some new venting. And they also are going to allow the pit crew member that comes over. This is a new thing for the aero screen this year. There's another pit crew member allowed to come over the wall that they didn't have before to service the aero screen, to clean it or to take a tear off of it, right? They're going to allow that pit crew member, to give the driver a drink bottle from the pits that he can take a quick drink and then toss it back out. So hopefully we don't toss it out in front of any other drivers coming out of the pits. Toss it toward the pit wall. But they're doing some things to try to lessen that, because those guys, they were hot. And they were hot. Well, and it's even different, people, some other race fans say, well, NASCAR, it's 125 degrees in the car all the time in a NASCAR car. Well, yeah, but they have more space around them, open space. Right. They have windows. They have, depending on the track, either one or two windows. And what was the other thing? They also have, I just totally lost my train of thought. Windows. And power steering. Indy cars don't have power steering. When you're driving an Indy car, especially on a road course, imagine holding up like a 10-pound barbell in front of you like this and doing this for 2 hours. That's a lot of stress. I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
In a NASCAR car, I mean, even sometimes on ovals, you see them driving with one hand, because they have power steering. So it's a much more physically demanding thing. So they hopefully have lessened it. Hopefully when they redesign the new car in a couple of years, they'll completely get rid of the issue. But for now, it's hard to get air into the cockpit. Yeah. So hopefully they can do that. And also the colder water issue, because nobody wants to be drinking tea. I never even thought about that. And they started stuff this week. And, the water bottles are right beside the radiator. And I thought, why? Yeah. Where does that make sense exactly?
It doesn't make sense. Exactly. Okay.
Anyway, so they did have a tough time. Every one of those guys last weekend were whipped. They were whipped. Most of them said, I think I saw a tweet from Graham Rahal. He said, "Man, I took 2 days and just recouped, rehydrated."
Well,
Connor Daly said he lost 12 pounds.
Yeah, he lost 12 pounds. That's what I was going to say too. In the media, in the conference with Colton and Renus, they were talking about how brutal it was, and they said also, I think Colton said something like some of the guys had to have like IVs the next day to like bounce back because they got so dehydrated. And but the plus side of Road America coming up is that it will be cooler. And they also talked about the fact that there's a lot of straightaways, so you can kind of ease.
Get a little more. Yeah,
not ease, but
and everything. Hopefully that'll lessen it. I don't think
they're working on that.
New car, it'll be totally solved. I think when they get the new car, they can design some actual venting into the car itself. Right now, they're just trying to make things up, add things to the car to get air to the guys.
Yeah. So, and they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And obviously the COVID-19 pandemic hasn't helped because they haven't been able to work on things. So,
it normally would. Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. Okay. So before
we mask inside their helmet, right? For the COVID-19, don't they have to wear a mask? Just kidding.
Like I know. I'm like,
I got you. She's like, what?
I'm so gullible. I'm so freaking gullible. I know.
Supposed to wear a mask, right?
Okay. Before we move on, I just want to do a quick little shout out to the McLaren SP team, Schmidt Peterson team. I just want to say I've been so impressed with them, and race fans. I know we have, a lot of you guys that listen to that watch F1. This is probably one of the best teams that you should be watching and keeping an eye on. They are are they the youngest? Are they the youngest team? I think the youngest. They are the youngest team on the grid. And so
both drivers together. Yeah.
It's both drivers. Exactly. Not separate, but both drivers. And so what I was going to say is, you have Oliver Askew, who won Indy Lights last year. And then the year before that, Pato O'Ward won Indy Lights. And so you have so much potential here. And I'm always impressed with how mature they are. Every time I do a Zoom conference with them, they're just always they're always both so level-headed and so knowledgeable. And so, and the team itself, you have amazing strategists on that team, and just a shout out to them. They
beefed up the engineering too. They brought in new engineers and did a bunch of different things. Yeah.
I mean, so I just want to say, if you're F1 fans and you're looking for a team to kind of ease into IndyCar, you should keep an eye on them. And definitely, obviously you can like who you want to like, but they're a great team. And obviously the Arrow McLaren connection is, a crossover from F1.
They got a nice F1 connection there. Yeah,
they do. Oh, and what was really cool is they were talking about how both Oliver and Pato look up to Alonso, and how Alonso kind of has helped them with stuff, Fernando Alonso. Yep. And I think that's really cool too. So you kind of have,
and they'll be with him in Indy. So
Exactly. And he's been helping out with that. So anyway, so there's just a little shout out to that team. I thought I could give them some love. So yeah.
You know what I loved during the race? Speaking of the Arrow McLaren Schmidt Peterson team, did you catch where before Askew wrecked? I believe he was passing Pato or vice versa.
They got a little dicey.
And what I liked about it, the funniest thing was the spotter. And I guess it was, and I think it was Pato's spotter, and NBC got it perfect. They got it right during what was going on. Now I forget. I believe it was Askew going around the outside of Pato, and all you heard was, "That's your teammate. That's your teammate. That's your teammate."
I know.
Pato going, "Don't hit him. Please don't hit him. Please God, don't hit him."
I know. Yeah, be nice. It's your teammate.
Oh, it was so funny. He said it
is so
4
funny.
times. Your teammate. That's your teammate.
That's your teammate.
Yeah,
but they both of those drivers are super young, but they work so well together. And I've even asked I've even asked them before, like, how do they, about strategy, because they just seem to work so well together, and they just do. It's good. But I mean, yeah, they do really well together.
Like
so anyways, that's
where they hate each other and never talk to each other and
but they do, and you wouldn't necessarily expect that from two drivers that are so young. Do you know what I mean?
They're both pretty mature kids, though.
They are.
I've never spent much time with Askew, but with Pato a little bit, and I've seen him in action, outside the car.
Right.
Very, very mature, level-headed. Mm-hmm. Seems to really have his head on his shoulders.
Exactly.
I got one more question.
Oh, go ahead.
About Arrow McLaren SP that I just realized because I have it in my notes. So they're called the Arrow McLaren Schmidt-Peterson team.
Right.
Why didn't they call them the Arrow McLaren Peterson Schmidt team? So it would be AMPS. It would have been MPS. Wouldn't that have been? I don't know. We're the AMPS team, man.
AMPS.
Now it's the AMSPA.
I give up. I just call it Arrow McLaren SP. That's what I do. I give up because you told me not to call it.
I'm an old man. I can't remember things. I wanted to make it easy for me.
I know, but right? Probably because Schmidt put in more money. I don't know.
Well, that's really why Sam Schmidt was the head of the deal before McLaren brought in their checkbook. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Moving on.
So to sum up the Indy race. Willpower, bad luck. Bunch of other guys, bad luck. Dixon smiles, sets sail, perfect strategy, perfect driving, perfect smile, perfect wife, perfect kids, perfect whatever, and right? Really?
Wait, have you ever listened to? If you ever listened to some old episodes of Hinch and Rossi from last year, the Off the Track with Hinch and Rossi. Yep. There was one episode where Rossi was like, they were both talking about Scott Dixon being like the man.
Yeah.
And Rossi's like, I go into the gym. And then he's like, then I see Dixon there, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not going in because he doesn't want to be showed up. Rossi's like, no. Yeah, he's all embarrassed. He's like, I can't work out with him. No, can't do it. Yeah, that's so funny.
So true. And Scott really, I interviewed Scott once years ago when he was first starting, and he is just the same as he was then.
Oh, I love that.
Nice, polite. Never says a bad word. Even when he should be upset, he doesn't get upset. He's just like, well, that was stupid, and he drives on. He doesn't even worry about it. He's so just even. He's always even, and that's a really good thing for a lot of race car drivers. A lot of race car drivers could follow that.
Well, that's why they call him the Iceman, which I have issues with, because in my opinion, the only Iceman is Kimi Räikkönen. But hey.
I love Kim, man. Here's Kimi Räikkönen when the car flipped over 92 times and blew up. Yes, the car was very good, and then I had the wreck. Here's Kimi Räikkönen when he won 14 races in a row. Yes, I won 14 races in a row. Everything was great. Here's Kimi Räikkönen. Went out drinking last night. Yes, I went out drinking last night, and everything was great. I mean, it doesn't matter. He'd be in the middle of a hurricane. He'd be like, yes, I'm in the middle of a hurricane right now. Right? It's so funny. It's hilarious. He's the greatest.
It's true. All right.
Anyway,
I love your Kimi impression.
That's my only good impression. So we're rolling into Road America with 2 races this weekend, and then the weekend after that we're rolling into Iowa with 2 races, and then a couple more weeks, and then Mid Ohio, and then Indy.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of points out there coming up in the next few weeks, and some guys are going to get a bunch of points and some guys are going to lose a bunch of points.
Exactly.
So here's my question to you to wrap up Indy.
Okay,
will Scott Dixon just stay on a tear and just dominate the season and clean up, or is somebody going to challenge him? And
no, I think he's going to be challenged. I definitely think he's going to be challenged by the Penske's. Simon seems to be getting things right. I feel like Simon could be a really good competitor. I'm not giving up hope on Rossi. I hope that they can get his stuff together because I'd like him to be in the mix.
A big hole
but
to dig out of.
They have to do. But I feel like Colton would probably be a bigger threat than Rossi.
He's quietly right there and quick.
He's quietly right there, but never to rule out Colton. And like I said, so no, I do not. And it's not a knock on Scott Dixon. It's just I don't think he's just going to dominate. I don't think he's just going to. I think they're getting it right, but I think that the other teams are going to catch up and give them a run.
Bad news is Scott usually starts out slow. Traditionally, he'll have a slow first half of the year and then come on strong in the end and win a championship. This year he's starting out blazingly. I mean, winning the first 2 races. Come on.
Right.
So, and it's a short season. We don't even know how long the season's going to be yet. So,
no, we don't.
Totally, right? So, there's less points on the table than usual. So, we'll see.
Exactly. We'll see.
Going to be fun to watch.
It will be fun to watch. Okay, so
hey,
I answered
you know what else happened last weekend?
What?
Over in that European place over there, across the big pond over there in that European area, they had one of them there Formula One races. With them Europeans.
OMG, I'm so embarrassed.
Did you watch it by chance?
OMG. Race fans, OMG. Rick likes to embarrass me. He's such a dad. You are such a dad. You always embarrass me. Guys, when we're at in the media room at a race, he always tries to embarrass me.
Of course. That's the fun of being like a dad.
I'm over there trying to act all cool and I'm in here. I'm in the media center. I'm in the media room. And
get out of here.
Get me
the restroom's over there. Go, I don't care, whatever.
Yep. And you always give me a hard time.
Yeah. That's the fun.
Always embarrass me.
So much fun. So, Formula One.
Formula Uno. Okay, so what'd you say?
No fans.
No fans, which was also extremely weird because Formula One too. And this isn't a knock on IndyCar. It's just that Formula One has more fans. It's more. It's a world thing. So when you really don't see the fans in Formula One, it's really shocking too. It's whoa.
Well, and the Formula One fans are just phenomenally passionate. You've got,
like me,
whole sections for drivers and flags and Ferrari and
the Orange Army.
And the Orange Army are going crazy. And to not see that is weird.
It's weird.
It's odd. I can't imagine. We were talking about it earlier, but I can't imagine being at being part of the team, and you're on the pit lane, you're getting ready for the race and different things, and there's just quiet. There's not. Well, that's 150,000 people out there.
Right, and I do have friends on the teams, on different teams, and I do have them that some of the. On the pit crews, they send me pictures, and it is so I just had one of my friends from Racing Point send me a bunch of pictures, and it's crazy how eerie. I texted him, I was like, it looks so eerie and silent there. It's so crazy. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah,
it's really
not
weird.
Much longer. Let's see. Let's hope.
Hopefully not much longer. Yep. Okay, so
Formula One is back. Quality practice. What do you think?
Yeah. First of all, I was just so happy that Formula One was back. And I have to say that I'm in love with the AlphaTauri car. Can we talk about how that livery is just so beautiful? I just had to just talk about. Yeah. Oh, it's like my favorite. It just is so beautiful. So seeing that car out there was just amazing. Period. Okay. So finally, we get Formula One back on track. And guess what? What's crazy is when we're talking about practice, you have everyone faster than Ferrari. Like everyone. So you have.
Oh, and here we go. Yay. Let's talk about Ferrari.
Yep. Let's talk about Racing Point, how amazing Racing Point is. They and McLaren.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say is that the mid-level teams in practice were just dominating. They were doing great. It was great to see.
Perez had a great weekend.
Perez had a great weekend.
And we'll talk about Norris having a great weekend.
Oh, we will. Yep. But it was just really cool, honestly, to see in practice. And, there were hiccups in practice, obviously. Seeing some of the drivers make a lot of mistakes is always like, whoa, making more mistakes, obviously, because they haven't been out on a track. Oh, yeah. So you're seeing a lot of that. But I just can't get over how we're watching practice and you're seeing these midfield teams in the top. And I think this is so exciting. Is this how the season's going to be? We don't know. This is just the first race, but if this is how it's going to be, isn't this going to be exciting?
They need some mixing up for sure.
They need to mix it up. So with that being said,
but the results of quali were not unexpected. Well, maybe for us, but
so let's go into, I was going to say
the fast ones were in the front, right?
Okay, so practice looked very promising, right? So you have that kind of stuff going on. But then you have, for qualifying, and I'll read it to you real quick. So you had Bottas on pole, Hamilton second, Max Verstappen third, and then you have Lando up there fourth.
Yeah,
and then
Albon for him. Yeah,
he had a good, and then Albon behind.
Yep.
Lando. Sergio, I got really excited, honestly, to see Perez with, Racing Point in number 6. I was like, this is great.
Oh, yeah.
And then who's right behind him? Charlie's, Leclerc, Ferrari. Then you have Sainz with Renault. Then you have Racing Point, and then you have Daniel Ricciardo. Then at number 11, you have Seb.
Other Ferrari. Yep.
The other Ferrari.
That was on the heels of them coming into the race, talking all about, we don't expect much. We didn't bring any updates. It's like, why, and why? First of all, why not bring updates? Second of all, why talk about it? Third of all, why tell everybody about it? And fourth of all, you proved it because you were slow. I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain Ferrari.
You and 6 billion other people on the planet. That's correct. Yep.
But I like them, and we'll get into that. We don't
just like them. It's just, you just shake your head. It's like, well, I don't understand.
They're so complicated. It's so weird. It's so weird. There are no answers. So qualifying was interesting there. You already have the Ferraris in the back. You have Racing Point. You have midfield. These midfield teams just doing better than Ferrari. And then you go, have you seen that meme? Have you seen the meme, the one that I sent you, when you load the gun with the penne pasta and you and you shoot yourself with pasta?
Death by pasta. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm like.
By pasta. Yeah.
Let's so that's okay. So there you go. Yep. So that's kind of what I was feeling like when I saw quali. I was like, that's it. We're done. Okay. Ferrari, cancel Ferrari, cancel Ferrari for 2020.
Yeah. We'll see 2021. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Right?
Exactly. Yep. So.
And then, of course, you've got all we won't get deep into it right now, but the controversy with Seb and the contract and, all that. But you know what? Typical Ferrari, not at all surprised by the drama, the drama queens of racing, always.
Yeah, that's probably why I like them, because I'm a drama queen.
Oh, that could be true. Maybe that's it. Maybe you like the drama. You'd like to have the drama more toward the front of the pack, though.
Obviously. Obviously, and I don't like it when it's my favorite driver.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's true. Oh, okay, so let's talk about too that there was the yellow flag incident. Well, because we're going to go into the race now. Let's go into the race.
Well, so the quali yellow flag, the Hamilton.
Yeah, because
I think because right.
No, I know. So right before, but like in less than an hour before the race, they all of a sudden penalize Lewis Hamilton. And it's like, you guys.
Well, do you know, but why?
Because he didn't slow down.
Story, though?
He didn't slow down. He didn't slow down.
For the incident occurred in practice, or was it in
quali? No, quali. It was in quali.
Quali, right? So the incident was he, quote unquote, ignored a yellow flag, which if he really did, is really a penalty, right?
It is a penalty.
And then they looked at it and said, nope, no penalty. And then Red Bull all Saturday night went searching for video and found a bunch of different video and, looked over all the video and said, whoa, we got a different video here that shows a different look on it. And then they went back to FIA and said, hey, it's obvious. It's a rules infraction. And that all happened Sunday morning. And FIA said, well, yeah, I guess you're right. And then they penalized.
And so what's not funny for Mercedes fans, but funny for Red Bull fans, is that literally Christian Horner said that he found it on social media.
Yeah.
He went on Twitter and found it. And that's what provoked him to do it again. So,
but it did
OMG,
and it was enough to convince the FIA that it was really an infraction.
Okay, but I want to talk about the other side of this too, because I try to be subjective and everything. So here we go again. We have already made a rule. It's not a penalty, but then going back on your word, it's still messy. Here we have this mess that is the drama that is F1. And you know what? Yep. I freaking missed it. I missed it. I missed it so much.
I love it. I love it. Housewives of F1 weren't on for like 6 whole months.
I missed it. I missed the drama. I miss it because it's crazy. There's nothing like F1 drama. And here you go. And now we have memes of Christian Horner being called Karen. You know the Karen meme?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And I'm like, OMG. Can I speak to the manager? OMG. This is like.
Yeah. Well, you saw what Toto Wolff said.
Oh, the gloves are off. The gloves are off.
Fine. Then the gloves are off,
The gloves are off. And I'm like, oh, we're back. F1 is back.
Here we go. Here's the drama. Oh,
F1 is back.
I love it. So Hamilton ended up starting what, 5th, right?
Yes. So he
penalty.
Yeah, let me just double check on that.
I think it was 5th. I'm pretty sure.
So he got the penalty
but it did suck that it was an hour before the race too.
Right. That's what I'm saying is like this drama. Yep. It's like it's just crazy. So
that was on the heels of Red Bull had filed, I guess, a formal complaint against the Mercedes steering system. Supposedly, even though everybody said it was legal, and then they filed another complaint about it, and so all that wrapped in together. And Toto Wolff said, "Okay, the gloves are up."
Toto. I love Toto so much. He is so great. Like his voice is like Arnold Schwarzenegger. When you hear him talk, he's like
Kimi Räikkönen of team managers. He doesn't get upset. He just goes, "That's fine. The gloves are off." But
straight up, Toto Wolff is like Terminator. He comes in and he's like, "Oh no," and I'm just like, "Oh my god, exactly. OG!" It's like Terminator. Okay.
Oh,
I do love Toto Wolff though. I do. I have to say it. Like he's
for sure.
I love watching him. Oh, and then he's so extra with his face mask that he looks like he's like going to wield things with that plastic. Did you see his face mask?
No, he had the whole face shield. Yeah.
Yeah, the face shield. That's what it is. And he's like, "What do you?" He's so extra. He's just like in the garage.
He should have had the Terminator glasses on too.
Shut up.
That would look great.
He looks like he's going to just. He looks like he's just going to like take over the world. He's just like, and he is because it's Mercedes.
And you know what he said after the race?
What?
Next week, I'll be back.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, he does. He didn't look like him, but he sounds like him. Oh man.
Okay. So
then we get into the race, and it was crazy.
The race was so exciting, but the race was like literally like one boom after another, boom,
right.
Boom. And by boom, I mean DNF, like DNF.
Oh,
DNF.
Yeah, we had. I think 9
mechanical issues.
Yeah, I think 9 out of 20 did not finish.
Yes, and then you have what's insane is like you have just. I'll tell you what really what was insane was Kimmy, the wheel just popping off and almost hitting Seb. And I was like, no, like that was insane. You have,
what about it? He said, my car is very good, but the wheel come off and we go off the track and the race was over for us. That's what he said about it.
That's what he said about it. Okay. I was sad. I was really sad when Max went out because, you know, I keep pushing for Max. I keep pushing for the Red Bull team. Because I think that they, you know, we want something different, right? Race fans. I mean, it doesn't.
About two.
I know.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh gosh, we'll talk about that. So then when Lance Stroll started having issues, I was like, oh no, is it going to happen to Perez? But then when they had sensor issues on Lance Stroll's car, my immediate thing is, wait a minute, this is a Mercedes. So then what's going to happen to Bottas and Hamilton? Right. Which, by the way, you know how it is with Mercedes. It's all drama. It's all over the radio. Oh, guys, don't run over the curbs and don't do this. And you think for a second they're going to have car issues, but they don't.
Yeah, but then they just drive on. Yeah, it's fine.
Bottas just led that race. From the minute lights went out, he was ahead. And there was no one that was going to catch him.
Hamilton wasn't going to beat him either that day. He was on it.
Hamilton was not going to beat him that day.
Nope.
I don't care what anyone says. Like, no way. Bottas just had it.
Bottas this year, what's the deal? I think they said last year he had some personal, like he had a divorce or something. Something went on with him last year.
Like Bottas. Okay, Bottas straight up has a new side chick, and she's amazing.
There you go.
She's a bicyclist, but like what's interesting about Bottas is that literally he's going through this divorce. And then he said he had to focus on racing. And then all of a sudden he's with this like super hot bicyclist chick. And I'm like, I don't mean to call her chick. That's rude. I don't mean to. She's a beautiful woman. Yeah. But I'm like, oh.
You
see how it is.
Very nice.
I see how this is. And by the way, his wife was beautiful too. So, I mean, she was Amelia. She was.
But anytime you have upset in your personal life to that degree, it will affect just average people.
Absolutely.
It affects you at your job. It affects a lot of your mental state and all that. And this year he's like, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I'm in the best mental shape I've ever been in, and I'm going for it. So could lead to some interesting times with Mr. Lewis at some point in the season ahead.
It could.
Because it sounds like Bottas is not really in the frame of mind of, well, I'll just finish second. I don't think he's there anymore.
No, I don't think he is either. And I don't think the team, to be honest, will do that to him. Unless like it's part of this, unless like it's like one of those things where Lewis is literally, it's the championship is at stake and they need something. But I can't see them doing that. Not this early.
No, I don't think so.
In the season.
They're going to let him run. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so let's talk.
My favorite driver, Danny R.
I know.
Just another horrible weekend. Out early, mechanical, done.
He's going to be going to McLaren.
Like the first race, and he's already waiting for next year.
Right. Well, he'll be going to McLaren, and McLaren looks very promising.
Good.
They're looking very promising in IndyCar and in F1. I mean, they are. They're doing really well. Okay. So let's. So Danny. So Danny, that happened to him.
My boy.
I know.
Danny should have been American. He's like half American. He's like
he's a Texan. He's a Texan.
Dale Earnhardt's his favorite driver. Come on.
I know. He loves NASCAR. I know.
I love that guy. I want to meet that guy someday.
I know. Okay, so then the Haas had brake issues.
Oh my gosh.
That was kind of scary.
What do you mean scary?
I always think it's scary when you see a car, Grosjean, like his car just not stop and just run straight into you because he had brake issues. It's like, that always to me is like, that's not good.
The whole Haas thing is, there's something not right somewhere.
Yeah.
They were nothing, then they were great. Now they're, right back to the back of the pack. And quite frankly, just between you and me, I mean, the rumors are already flying. It's nothing I know particular, but I would be surprised to see him in F1 next year. I mean, look at how many sponsors are on that car. Almost nothing.
Yeah.
You know how much it costs to run an F1 car out of your pocket? Oh my God.
Well,
Guys spend tens and hundreds of millions of dollars out of his own pocket. That's crazy.
Well, we talk about this all the time in IndyCar. And so, yeah, in F1 is like twice as bad, even worse.
10 times as bad. Yeah.
10 times as bad.
Okay. I fear that, I mean, if no matter how much I love racing, if I go 4 or 5 years and spend a ridiculous amount of my own money and I'm not recouping it and I'm not running well, and I've got a NASCAR team that's running great, why do I want to keep throwing money down that hole? You know, there's not that much money. I mean, the guy's got a ridiculous amount of money, but it runs out sometime. And no sponsor. I mean, there's no major sponsor on that car ever since they lost the crazy guy with the energy drink deal.
Rich Energy.
Yeah, all that stuff.
All that stuff.
I'm worried about them.
Well, and I'm worried too about Williams. Aren't we all worried about Williams too? I mean,
we are worried about Williams. The question is, can those two teams hold on for this transition period into the reduced budget era?
That's what I'm hoping that it'll help out.
McLaren went out and got a whole bunch of money, a bunch of investment money, because they were concerned about, and plus the COVID and the this and the that. Nobody knows, but that these sponsors they can't be paying the full contract that they would have had with a full season. There's no way.
I didn't think about that. You're right.
If you're a sponsor and you say, hey, I'm going to give you $25 million next year and you're going to run 21 races and I'm going to be on the car for every race. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, COVID and we're not going to run races for 6 months. They're not going to keep writing that check. They had to renegotiate that stuff.
Right.
They're not getting anything for it. They can't just keep giving you money for nothing. So, the budgets had to be reduced somewhere, and, everybody's feeling the pinch from that.
That's true. It's a good point because I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it's going to be IndyCar. Quite frankly, a bunch of the IndyCar guys are worried about budgets for next year because they're skimming by this year, but now all these companies that have lost money this year and are reevaluating everything, and who knows what's going to happen. And, August, September is the time when teams sign contracts for next year.
Yep.
Well, right now, a whole lot of companies are going, oh, what's that? 10 million? Oh, no problem. Here you go.
Right.
They just don't have it. So there's a little concern right now about what's going to happen next year.
There's a little concern.
Everybody.
Okay.
Right,
so
off my soapbox now.
So we're off of that. Okay. Okay. Well, race fans, it's bad if I'm the one keeping us on track because
that is so true. Your words have never been spoken. Wow.
It's true story. I'm on point today. I'm on point. Okay.
Run it. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. I'm like, okay. So there were the mechanical problems with the cars. And then, Grosjean with that stuff. And then you hear all this stuff about the gearboxes, and then stay off the curbs to Lewis and Bottas. Sure. Somewhere in there, Seb decided to try to pass signs on the inside and spun out.
Well, on the back end of what's his name passing signs too. He said, well, I'll just slide right in there too. And it just was a bonehead move. I'm sorry. It was a bonehead move.
It is a bonehead move. And then you hear the announcement.
Every race driver has made a mistake in their lives. Every person has made a mistake in their life. But that
right. But every driver has made mistakes, but Seb is the one that keeps spinning.
It's starting to add up.
Race fans, obviously, that I love Seb more than anything, and I do. And I will always support him. But this is just one of those things where it was like you just did. Like you don't need these spins, but you especially don't need these spins, especially now you have Ferrari probably being like, this is why.
And they just go, see,
Yeah, exactly. You're just, and that's unfortunate. And
it sucked. I hate to see anybody shoot themselves in the foot, but he really did.
He did. He shot himself in the foot there. So then that happened.
Yep.
And,
so
he also complained.
Just pretty much stayed out front and cruised, right?
Yeah, he did. But, Seb also said, his car, if you remember in practice, all the way up to qualifying, he was doing better than Leclerc. He actually had a better race pace. And then something happened and his car, I don't know, he was saying that his car was undrivable. And you can look at onboards and you can see him struggling, but you also see Leclerc struggling, I think, as similar. The Ferraris aren't there, but once again, Leclerc is able to adapt better than Seb. And
Seb seems to be trying to still make it work for him instead of taking what he can get.
I think so. I think you're right on that.
I wouldn't say desperation, but more, gosh, I don't know, just almost like an overconfidence. Like, I could do this. I've done this before. Well, no, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, some of them starting to add up.
This starting to add up. Okay. So you have that move.
What happens the rest of the year was that. That's all we can say.
It's going to be very long year. It's going to be a very brutal season for me. There will be tears for me.
Shows up every week, and the whole team's like, well, we don't really want you here anymore. So see ya. Got to be rough.
Which brings me to, I'm just going to dig right in because we're talking about Seb.
Here we go. Lay it out, baby. Make it happen.
I have a friend, a source, who is an Italian journalist who grew up in Maranello, like born and raised, and knows the people there and talks to them. And he told me that 2018, Ferrari was done with him.
Really?
With Seb.
Whoa.
In 2018. And if you remember, in 2018, that was the year that he lost the championship to Lewis, but like he was leading but he made those spins. And then 2019 just was such a crap year for Seb. And if that's true, then that's really sad because that means that they've stopped believing in him. And it's sad because Seb is such a defender of Ferrari. He's always been so, last year when he won, I think it was at Sochi, and he had the Austria Ferrari flag and brought it out. Sure. And it's just like, it's sad. And it's sad.
Yeah. It's like a slow divorce. It just kind of drags on.
It does. And it's sad, but like, I just, I hate that because he is such a great person and he's such a great driver. I mean, and he is a great driver. It just hasn't been the same. And I don't know why, I don't know what it is that's going on. And we've talked about this last year. We don't know what's going on with Seb to where he's making these mistakes. But
what you just said plays into it. If that really is true, and that the inside top management of Ferrari was already done with him 2 years ago,
right?
Then you can't not feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, Seb can't not feel that in some way, shape, or form. And we see 1% of the reality. 99% happens behind closed doors. But that in the back of Seb's mind, or any driver, it would be like, well, they're not really behind me anymore, and that starts to, and then one of two things happens. Either there's a come to Jesus meeting and everybody sits down and goes, let's figure this out, or there's a slow parting of ways. And I think that's what happened with Seb. It's just kind of over especially last year and into this year, it's just kind of been like, you're our guy, not really. Now you're not our guy at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yep.
And then what's even more crazy is we find out the hard way that there wasn't a contract. Because, you have to remember, Seb, during all this time, when it broke that Sainz was going to replace him, this whole time, Seb doesn't have social media. We don't know what to think about Seb. And then he comes and he tells the truth. And he tells the truth, which is which there was no contract offered to him.
Yes, we would make an offer, sure. Seb's like, what are you talking about?
I know Seb's like, I'm not going to lie anymore. And so, and by the way, there's a lot of friction there because of that. But I mean, what's Seb supposed to do? Lie?
Yeah.
I mean,
at that point, you might as well just, I mean, the bridge is burned.
The bridge is burned.
Why bother trying to put it back together? That's right.
Right. I think, but did you see also they asked him if he would leave mid-season, and he said he would never do that because he owes it to the team. And I will tell you one thing. I've talked to people on the Ferrari team that work with him on his car that are close to him, and they all love him. So I don't think it's... Yeah,
I think it will probably play out.
It's the higher ups that are that don't, you know,
as usual at Ferrari. Yes.
As usual. Okay, so there's this.
Top. Well, we'll see what Deb. We'll see how it goes the rest of the year.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's talk about.
We need to talk about the other big thing that happened during the race, the Hamilton Albon situation.
Oh, you just read my mind. Yeah. So what?
About that. We have to wind it up with that for sure.
Lap 61. I mean, so Albon is doing really well.
Albon's on better tires.
He's on better tires, and he's catching up, and it's just a matter of time, right? Yep. Red Bull had the strategy.
Yep.
They had the tires. They had the strategy. Yep. This is Albon going. We're like, yes, Albon's going to get a podium. He's going to go up there, and then Lewis is like, nah, just kidding.
Punted him. Yeah, Albon on the outside, and Lewis, and he was past him. He was he was half a car length. You know, it wasn't like it was wheel to wheel. I mean, Lewis knew he was there, and Lewis just, quote unquote, slid out too far. Yeah, and took him out. And that's the second time
he did.
And it sucks for Albon.
Last year was Brazil.
Yep.
Same move.
Yep. Same move, same thing.
I wonder.
And I like Lewis. I'm not, down on Lewis.
I like Lewis a lot too.
Don't everybody yell at me. But again, that's not. Sometimes it's an attitude with drivers. Sometimes there's certain drivers, and I'm not. And again, not degrading in any way. I'm just saying some drivers are like, this is my track and don't get in my way. And if you're quicker than me, I don't care. It's still my track. And some drivers are like, you know what? You're quicker than me. Go. Lewis is the first kind.
Yes, Lewis is like that.
Pretty much his whole career. And it's like, even if you're going to try to pass me, it's still my track. And if I take you out, well, you were kind of in my way. But I also want
to also point out that that is Lewis's personality, but on the opposite end, you have someone like Seb who's like too nice, and look where he's at. So if you're going to be a true racer, you have to have you kind of have to be like Lewis, like that. You have to, if you're going to be a true racer, if you're going to be successful.
But there is a point when you're beat, and he was beat.
Oh, he was beat. He was beat.
Corner, and he in a split second decide, all I had to do is touch the brake pedal a little bit more, and everything would have been fine. But he didn't.
Exactly.
He challenged it and put Albon out. So it sucks for Albon. I'm sorry.
It does suck for Albon. And then Albon called him a sore loser afterwards. Huh?
Well, and that's kind of what I mean about Lewis. He's like, he's kind of like, I relate him a lot to Kyle Busch in NASCAR. It's never Kyle Busch's fault. Kyle Busch never makes a mistake. Kyle Busch, if he ran into the back of somebody, it was only because he was on my racetrack. He was in my way. And Lewis has a little of that. Not quite as much as Kyle Busch, but a little of that, where it's an attitude. And I know I get your point about, to be a winner, maybe you need that attitude. But you can be a winner without, taking somebody out.
No, of course. And that was... And last year, if you remember last year, Lewis admitted his mistake. This year, it's a little bit different. I don't know if it's higher stakes. I don't know if it's just whatever. But no one's perfect.
Man, I'm really sorry. It was me.
Exactly.
This time around, it was like, oh, no, and I thought, really? It's pretty much identical. Anyway.
It was identical. Okay, so that happened.
Hamilton Albon saga will continue at some point this year, I predict.
I will. Okay. So
What do we got left? We got to wrap up. What do you think?
well, let's talk about the fact that Leclerc only got Leclerc only got a podium only because of all the DNFs.
But you know what?
That's the only reason why.
Take the luck. Take it.
Take the luck. And he took the luck. So he got it. So congratulations to Leclerc. But really, the real winner for me was Lando.
Oh, so cool to see him. I mean,
yes.
It was DNFs and all that, but he still ran a great race, and he still ran that last lap where he had to get that spot.
Fastest lap. And did you see when Checo was coming at him and he like checked him? Yeah. He checked Checo, you know, and it was like, boop. And I was like, oh man, that's funny. But he did
put it on the line, man. He did.
Yep. He did. And that was, to me, Lando was the winner of the whole thing for me. I was so proud of him. I was so happy.
Yep.
I was so happy. And my favorite moment was after the race. Did you see how he gets out of his car and he runs up to Zach Brown and they're like, jumps on Zach and Zach's like, like a proud papa. He's like,
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was fun to see. They had a good day. They had a really good day, especially after the last couple of years. It's really good.
Yes. Yep. And to see, and like I said, to see a team with so much history.
Yeah.
Like McLaren. And I have to say, I do really like Zach Brown a lot. There's a down to earthness to him that I really, really like.
Yeah, seems like a good guy.
He does. Yeah, he does, and I really like that. I really like Zach Brown a lot. So I was
the rest of the year. I think they're going to have some more good results.
I think they are too, most definitely. So, like I said, that was my favorite thing. Oh, and AlphaTauri did pretty well too. Not too bad.
They had a good day. Yep.
They had a really good day. Yeah. So I'm excited about them. I want to see more of them. I want to see more of these midfield teams do better.
Absolutely.
And I'm still going to wear Ferrari and support Ferrari. I know. I mean, like,
gotta love them. You gotta hang with them. But we'll watch.
I spent way too much money on those clothes.
We will watch in angst and frustration the rest of the year, as always.
It'll be entertaining to watch me. That's all I have to say.
It will.
I might cry.
The day that I see you show up with your Ferrari shirt with like a black taped X over it or something like that, I'll know we're in trouble, right?
It's true.
Yeah, it might happen. It could happen.
I was thinking of getting some AlphaTauri gear.
There's a crack in the armor here. There's a chink in the
also because I'm not gonna lie, like their merch is really cool. Like the whole white, I love their whole look. It's pretty cool. Well, and I have to support my friends there, and I have a good friend that works on the cars. So
there you go. Something else happened in F1 this week, didn't it? Wasn't there something else that happened? I heard something. I don't remember, something about a driver and a contract and something like that.
The crazy rumor that was that everybody over COVID during this whole pandemic, everybody's like, all the memes, like that's never gonna happen. And then guess what? It did happen. Alonso's back.
Alonso is back, and everybody's loving it.
Not everybody's loving it.
Well, I'd say most people are loving it.
No, it's split. It's split half and half. Oh yeah, are we on the same Twitter? You know how hateful people are.
Trolls. They don't know what they're talking about.
So I'm all for Alonso coming back. Doesn't bother me. Good for him. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is what's your end game, Alonso, coming back into Formula One? Because I feel like if I'm Alonso,
what's there left to prove? Yeah. What's
that, and this is not a knock on him. I like him. No, he doesn't. So I'm trying to figure out what are his real intentions, because like I said, you've already done it, been there, done it. You have some championships. Mm-hmm. Why not go to IndyCar and try to do that?
That's what we would have liked to see.
I know. That's the only thing I have to say. That's the only part of me that's not happy, is because I really wanted him to come to IndyCar. Yep. I've been wanting him to come to IndyCar, and not just for the Indy 500, but like for a full season.
It would be fun to watch. Yeah, I think it'd be good too.
It would be so good. But anyway, so
well,
that's
here's the
my
big
only
question.
thing. Mm-hmm.
Will there be drama with him and what's his name? Cyril Abudabed.
I don't know. We'll see.
Abudabed. How do you say his last name?
Cyril Abdul
or something like that. Wow, our European friends are gonna murder us.
I know, it's horrible.
Will there be drama with those two?
I don't know.
I think there will be. I think there'll be some fireworks.
Okay. Well, then bring it.
I mean, I know Alonso was there before, and he loves Renault, and blah blah blah. And you're going to say all that, but I think at the first sign of non-performance, Alonso will be like, I came back to drive a fast car, and I don't see one yet.
Well, why? That's what I mean too. Why go back? Renault isn't looking too good.
Just wants to race, man. I guess. I don't know.
And I get it, and I get like you want to race, but like try a new series, come to IndyCar. I just really wanted him to come to IndyCar. But anyway, he's here, and that's great.
2021.
That's great for him.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. And I'm not knocking Alonso for that or anything, because I like Alonso just fine. I have so much respect for him.
Yeah,
he's my dad's favorite driver, so I always have a connection to him.
There you go.
But I just can't figure it out. Like,
maybe you'll get a chance to ask him. Who knows?
Oh, I love that.
I would love that.
Anyway, right?
So, where next race? Next race this weekend.
Same deal.
Track, same time, same track, all that. You predict the same results, or is it going to be wild again? Going to be a big shakeup.
I'm hoping Red Bull's going to get it together and figure out their mechanical issues.
That would be cool.
To put up a good fight. But I'm also hoping that Racing Point is still going to do well. And McLaren, I'm hoping that they are going to continue to improve, and we'll see what happens with Ferrari. But I'm really hoping and wanting the other teams to keep improving.
Yeah, we want to see it mixed up like an IndyCar where you never knew who's going to win. That would be good. Yep,
that would be good. But don't.
Well, we will stay.
Terminator. Yeah. Total Wolf is, he's not going to put up, he's going to figure out whatever that sensor issue is. And he will tell you it's not figured out, but he has it figured out. He had it figured out last week. I guarantee you.
He's a sandbagger. He's a big time sandbagger. Yep. Cool. Well, we'll be watching. We will see.
We will be watching.
One last little note before we go. I want to say a little note about NHRA drag racing here in the United States. They are kicking off this week. Finally, they're starting their season. They're going to run at Indy, and then they're going to run next week at Indy as well. We're going to get 2 in a row. But the big news on Monday came out of the blue, kind of, is that the biggest team in drag racing, John Force Racing, the biggest personality in drag racing, the biggest team, 2 funny cars, 2 top fuel dragsters, the big draw for NHRA, did not enter the race and did not even really say why. There was no press release like, hey, due to, the dangers of the virus and COVID, we've decided to not appear this weekend, blah, 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 blah. None of that. Just crickets. I mean, literally crickets. So it's a big, big story in NHRA because the rumor is that it's a sponsorship issue and they're the biggest team. They have the biggest sponsors in the sport.
That's crazy.
They also have the largest payroll. They have like 100 employees. And so the big rumor is that when their big sponsors had to pull out because of COVID and all that, there's no money left. And apparently the rumor is that John Force paid some out of his pocket and has been paying people out of his pocket. And the rumor, again, all rumor. I don't know anything special, but the rumor is that he finally said, you know what, I can't pay this out of my pocket anymore, and there's no money left, so we won't be there this week. We'll see if they're going to be there next week. Who knows?
Wow.
They might sit out the whole season, which would be unprecedented for the biggest team. It would be like Mercedes for some reason going, you know what? A week before the first race, we've decided not to go. Yeah. And nobody knows why.
I know. That's crazy. That's insane.
So that's a big deal. We'll be watching that story closely, and we'll see how it goes. So Road America, a couple races this week, and Austria again for F1. All you other fans, you know your series. There's all kinds of other stuff going on.
There is.
We didn't talk NASCAR, but we'll talk about NASCAR some other time. We ran out of time. We're boring ourselves now. We've gone too long. But we thank you for listening. We love you guys. If you're here with us this long, thank you. We hope we entertained you. Follow us. Go see us on our website, RaceFanHeaven.com. Follow us on Twitter, RaceFanHeaven. Follow Mandy at Mandy Curry.
Mandy CTV.
I'm sorry, Mandy CTV. What I forget? Facebook, RaceFanHeaven. Facebook. What's your Facebook again?
This is my name, Mandy Curry.
It's Mandy Curry, right? C-U-R-I. Okay, so you can follow her on Facebook as well. So until then, the audio engineer is going to attempt to see if he can actually play music on the way out like he's supposed to. And we're going to say goodbye until next week when we'll talk about all those things. And we love you guys for listening. We love you guys for watching. And we will hopefully see you and hear you very soon.